Good afternoon and Pusa Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you to the interaction session on industry expectations from Hospitality Masters Program. IHM Pusa has been facilitating master's level education for over a decade now. Today's session is aimed at reflecting on what the industry demands from hospitality postgraduates in the field of HR and sales and marketing. We are indeed lucky to be joined by industry stalwarts for this session. I heartily welcome Honorable Principal IHM Pusa, Shri Kamal Kantpan. We welcome the faculty and students to this insightful session. We are indeed grateful to have with us our expert speakers. With a deep sense of gratitude, we welcome you virtually to IHM Pusa.
Thank you. Thank you, Bahar. And it's a pleasure for me to welcome a team of expert, eminent speakers this afternoon. One thing which runs in common in all four of the guests is that all four of them are very close and dear friends of mine. While Mr. Sushil Tatan and myself, we attended the same class in IHM Bhubaneswar, the class of 1985-88. Mr. Sajay Sharma, who is the country head for Hyatt Hotels in India, was a batch junior to us. But at Bhubaneswar also we gelled very well together. And today we have got a very nice mix of IHM Bhubaneswar and IHM Pusa alumnus. We have two from Bhubaneswar and I have got two from Pusa. And I can call myself from Bhubaneswar as well as from Pusa because I spent 3 years in Bhubaneswar and I completed 3 years in Pusa last week only. So I'm from both the institutions. So it's a pleasure for me. I have had the pleasure of working with Chef Sunil Chauhan also way back in 1995. And I have been working for nearly a year with Mr. Gurpreet Vohra in the PIMA Executive Committee. And what a wonderful, what an energetic person he is. And I'm sure that the kind of aspirations we have for our MSc program, there will be a lot of value added this afternoon. So like my dear student Malhar Mahalapatra shared with you, that the MSc program, the graduate program at IHM Pusa is more than decade and a half old at Pusa and at the National Council, so to speak. But the kind of place of pride that this program should have already achieved, it pains me to say that probably it has not really gone there. And Mr. Chauhan, Mr. Vohra, Mr. Tandon, and in a little while, Mr. Sharma also. You are not only a part of the system, but a biggest stakeholder also. And the kind of stake that you have in the future of the industry in this country, probably like the kind of master's program, the MBAs we have from some of the esteemed institutions in our country, one would like to see people getting groomed to the same level in institutions like the IHMs and especially IHM. So what I would like to set the ball in, the theme this time is, what is it that the industry expects from a pioneer institution like IHM Pusa? It is offering a graduate degree. Graduate degree, I understand the purpose of having a management degree at the master's level is to make industry ready people available to the industry. Because after all, the industry, the employing businesses are the market that is being catered to by the educational institutions. And today, with this August panel, I wish that we get some insights and some plan of action as to how we have to transform it. To begin with, the master's program contributed a great deal in developing the faculty in various catering institutions, hospitality institutions. But that cannot be the sole purpose of having this ambitious program. And for that reason, with the permission of all the panel members, I would like to set the ball rolling. And I would like to start my discussion by inviting Mr. Sunil Chauhan, a 1994 batch graduate of IHM Pusa. Chef Chauhan is an innovator. He's a person. In fact, all the guests on this program today are the people who have not trodden on the beaten path. These are the people who have ventured out. They have come out of the comfort zones. They have taken the risks, and then they have made a mark for themselves. Mr. Chauhan is an innovator. Mr. Chauhan is a creative thinker. He is a design solution giver. And the kind of businesses that he has, I would like Sunil to come in and share a little bit about himself. And then I would like to ask him that in his ventures, what is the kind of people he aspires to look for, and how we could bridge that gap from institutions like IHM.
So first of all, thank you so much, sir. In fact, I'm more used to calling you as a chef than sir, because I was reporting to Mr. Kamal Khan Pant as one of his colleagues in terms of our association that goes back. I would like to send my warm greetings to everybody, and also it's good to be back in IHM Pusa, but this time it is virtually, not physically. So, well, and as I said, I am proud to be a Pusaite, 91, 94 batch. I've been a chef, been an entrepreneur right from the beginning. Have been into various fields. I was probably one of the first ones to kind of explore and to also lucky to get exposed to the or maybe, I mean, I should put it in this manner that I was one of the first ones to see the hospitality industry from beyond what hotel management institutes prepares you to. So the fact of the matter is that what hotel management does to you is basically hotel management prepares you for hospitality sector from within the sphere of hospitality, while there is a lot which can be done, which needs to be seen when you go out, when you take a step out from what the Institute of Hotel Management prepares you for. For example, I did quite a lot of research at that point. In 2001, between 2001 and 2007, I was consulting to Midas Foods International, which was into making premixes, for example. And at that point is when I did come across things like, you have 10 types of smoke flavors. You have a wok smoke flavor, you have the tandoor smoke flavor, and you have various kind of smoke flavors as well, for example. So I personally feel that it is one has to kind of also see that what is it that the industry, what is it not only the industry expectations, but what is also important here is for the students to kind of see what are the avenues and opportunities which comes up apart from what a generic hospitality is all about. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. As I said, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a chef by profession. Right from the beginning, in fact, it intrigued me to kind of understand why is it that Indian food is not as famous or has been able to make an impact in terms of, when I say Indian food, it is a cuisine which is loved immensely, but it is not something where, in terms of how somebody has been able to create it and take it abroad, in terms of an expansion like Domino's did, or like McDonald's did with a, just a patty and a burger, gone nationwide, gone, I mean, spread into the world. But so, I mean, that is where I'm coming from when I'm saying that, I have an entrepreneurial streak in me. Because one of my, I should say that my biggest achievements is, apart from representing India for World Gourmet Summit and World Gourmet Summit in Singapore and Switzerland and in St. Moritz, and representing India for India Pakistan Challenge show as well, and so on and so forth. I had my stints in the hospitality industry as well. Having started with India Habitat Center, being with JIGS, JKFSL for some time, where we did various exciting projects. To my what I do proudly say today is, in terms of my achievement, is good closed door research and development that I did in process driven approach towards Indian food, without relying on expert chefs, and ensuring consistency while protecting the IP of the recipe. So this might have sounded a little tricky whole sentence, but the idea is ki basically you put Indian food in a process-driven format, where you are cooking with premixes, and it is more of a line assembly kind of a system. So that also resulted in one of our factories, one of my businesses. So I have two businesses, which is one of the arms being frozen food factory, which supplies a B2B product to the hospitality industry, where we are catering to clients like Holiday Inn Express hotels and all. So uh, where we cook, blast chill, vacuum pack, blast freeze individual food portions. And when we are saying that we are into frozen food, I'm not talking about any kind of a common frozen food, whether it's French fries or whether it's snacks. I'm talking about complex product being done from there, right from your biryanis to dal makhnis to chicken krapao to you name it. I mean, we've got noodles also in a system where you can just assemble it without the need for a wok or a Chinese chef, for example. So the other business being a joint venture with Fab India. I don't know. So this is Fab Cafe Foods. I manage Fab Cafe Foods Private Limited as well, which is, as I said, a joint venture between Fab India. We are 28 restaurants across pan India. So so this is my story as far as my work is concerned. What I would like to definitely point here is and say that while people who are enrolling for the master's program are surely the cream of the 3 year plus. I mean, from the number of people that are chosen here is definitely, which is the cream that is coming for this master's program. I must, although humbly, say here that I have not been a very, very studious or a very student, coming into the first 20, 30 numbers. So, what I'm trying to say here is that you do definitely have a good and a better chances of hitting the bullseye as well. So coming back to the industry expectations from your hospitality masters program, I do feel that while we can definitely put our expectations here from you, but what I would definitely like to say here is that I would want to present it in a slightly different manner. Uh, and start by two, three things. First thing first here is that this year being a COVID year and which has never happened in the past, industry slowdown has resulted in a lot of job losses as well. Also, therefore, from this program perspective, while there is a concern for a placement and all across the industry in terms of especially the fresh batches and the fresh people who come out, but this is an excellent time for gaining further education, and which a master's program will give you certainly. That is one thing. The other thing is, I believe that the more you are in IHM Pusa, the more street smart you get. If and nothing else, IHM Pusa treats you to be very, very street smart, beautiful all rounders as well. So I mean, I can imagine what kind of personalities and jugadu, so to say, people to come out of a hospitality program. Being there in 5 years, I wish I could be there for 5 years for sure. So, not digressing to the thing up and not digressing from the point, I'll definitely come back and have throw in few things in terms of the what I feel is before Mr. Kamal Khan Pant kind of puts his hands up and says, "कि भाई, आपका time खत्म हो गया है." I don't know what is the time that although the
नहीं
session is that much,
नहीं
I'm sure there are
not
other
really,
speakers as well.
not
I
really.
would
Sunil,
not
yes.
I would not like to. I would not like to take more time, but I would definitely like to see, apart from the industry expectation, what we as an industry, what expectations that we have from you when you come from a master's program, is I'd like to take a two-prong approach to it. One is the expectations that we should be having. The other, I feel definitely, is that you must also kind of, while you are doing this BSc program, you must also look at ways and means by which the businesses, hospitality related businesses are conducted today. Let's not forget that today, the in terms of numbers and in terms of valuations that we are talking about today, uh, unicorns like Swiggy and Zomato is there. We have Rebel Foods, which has in terms of a valuation, I don't think there is any other F&B company which has a valuation of what Fasos, what Rebel Foods carries. So does Box8. I don't know whether you've heard about Box8 as a cloud kitchen concept. One definitely needs to be mindful of the fact that how everything is unfolding. While this could possibly look like a new age business for us right now, but I'm sure, I mean, once you go out of once you pass out from this program, there would definitely be a change in the way businesses is being done, unlike how it was earlier. For example, like Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat, the kind of business that it can give you from a business opportunity perspective and from a perspective of what you can do. So the 15 years back, 20 years back, if you wanted to be an entrepreneur, if you wanted to do business, the first thing that you needed was money. Today, if you want to be a businessman, if you want to be an entrepreneur, money comes. Money is not a biggest thing. It's just that the attitude, वगैरह वगैरह. So therefore, coming back to the thing, I would like to say here towards the end is the expectations wise, I personally feel that regardless of whatever you get into and whatever stream that you get into, I personally feel that you can definitely make impact, and that impact depends on the heart and soul that you are putting into the program or whatever you're doing. Because and you must have seen exceptions in your own colleges and in your own industry as well. that is another thing. So as I said, I mean, towards the end, that is what I would like to say, that we do look for today. The thing is that what I look for when I look for people to be joining me is is sincerity towards whatever you do, whether you're doing it for yourself. And that is the kind of qualities that I actually look at. The thing is, in terms of we can teach a lot, but we cannot make him a better human being, and we cannot make him a good person. That is what we try to look for in when I am looking for a person. So that's what I would like to add to the thing. We'll be open to questions and all, and I'd love
Yes.
to hear from the other participants as well. So
thank you, Sunil.
thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful insights you have given. And we are going to come back to you. And it will be a pleasure for me to go to Mr. Gurpreet Vohra now, who is a 1990 batch graduate of IHM Pusa. Mr. Vohra, welcome to this induction program. And being the executive member of PIMA, which is one of the strongest stakeholders in IHM Pusa. Now, I would like to bring you in, and you are aware that this master's program has been around for quite a number of years. Now, how we have to rediscover this program and reposition this, I would like to invite you over. I would request you to kindly give a little brief about your company, what business you are in, and the kind of timeline it was when you ventured out into the hardcore hotels and started this institutional catering and office kind of a catering, and the kind of volume of business that you have. Please, Mr. Vohra.
It's been an honor, I would say, to pass out of Pusa. 1990 to me sometimes looks like just yesterday, but when you talk to students that we are addressing right now, it might look like a century ago. But coming to Pusa, the question is whether you're doing a bachelor's or your master's. Why Pusa? You've joined, when you join forces, you are aware of the hardships that come along with it. Because once you're joining any organization to study, you look at people who have passed out of that institute. Like you see Chef Chauhan here, Mr. Tandon here, Mr. Sharma, who will join in soon. But this comes in after years of putting in your effort, labor, and dedication. If tomorrow we believe that doing a particular course with Pusa, we will straight away become a CEO of an organization or get a senior management position, I think even if we get it, we might fail in that. So what does Pusa give you? I would say Pusa not only imparts you the skills, but teaches you man management. Alone, the institute has done wonderfully well over the years, especially when Mr. Pant came in. But he would surely agree it's not a one-man job. It is a team effort. Like we've always heard, but even after 30 years, it would be, even with all the technology that comes in, even after 30 years, we can still say that it is easy to do work than to get from others. That is what Pusa teaches you. It makes you an all-rounder. Now you've become an all-rounder already when you've done your bachelor's. Now you're coming into master's. What is your aspiration? The field after you do your IHM Pusa is very, very vast. The reason being that you can still impart skills to any person that you hire or somebody hires you. what they can never impart you, what Chef Sunil Chauhan said very rightly, is you can never impart attitude to a person. So here you have to grind it out, which is very, very important. You have to have the skill of presentation, which Pusa teaches you. You have varied subjects, you have knowledge all across, because the best person who works for any organization is not an employee. It is an employee who thinks he's an entrepreneur in that organization. So I would say more than the skill, sometimes it is your attitude, your aptitude, and the fire in the belly that is important. You might start from any level. There have been batchmates from our college or pass outs who may not have joined the management training program, but today they might be heading several of the hotel chains. They might be vice presidents and presidents of the hotel chains. So it is very, very important to have that fire in your belly, have belief in yourself. This master's program will give you that leverage to your resume and to your skills and to your attitude and to your management skills to be a leader one day. Leaders cannot happen overnight. All the panelists, all the successful people, because sometimes we tend to measure success with the money and the effort that goes in. It is not the money. It is where you have reached. Are you satisfied? Are you happy? Are you contented? That is important. I started my career as a chef with Taj Hotels, and then I moved to Meridian because I wanted to be an Indian. I wanted to learn the Indian cuisine, because during our period, all that we wanted and why I joined was not because of anything else. I wanted to migrate to a different country, become a chef and my Indian cuisine, and migrate to Australia or Canada or any other country. The gentleman who took my interview at Taj was Mr. Ronnie Lobo. That is what I'm telling you, what is masters and what are leaders. He looked at me, took my interview and told me, you should not join kitchens, you should join F&B service. But I never wanted to join F&B service because I wanted to be an Indian chef and move out of the country. I joined Meridian. I was picked up from there with the blessings of my general manager by Golden Tulip Hotels, Holland, as assistant F&B manager, placed in Holland. That is when I remembered Mr. Ronnie Lobo. I joined them, and after 3 years of my service in different countries in Australia, Dubai, Middle East, London, Amsterdam, I came back to India and started my company called Tulip. I left the Golden to them. I started from the roof of my house doing outdoor caterings. And then over a period of time, we started doing caterings, outdoor caterings, in a bigger way in farmhouses and with zero support from any of our parents, is what I can say for all the panelists here. We earned money, we put that money in, we did part-time jobs, we did everything because there was fire in the belly. Because we had nothing to fall back on. And we said, this is what we are going to achieve. The goals were clear. Sometimes what happens is you do a job for 3 years in one organization, and by the time it is time for you to reap the benefits, you switch over. So it is very important to have continuity. You've joined this master's course, do it, dedicate these 2 years to that. I'm not saying don't enjoy life, don't have fun in the college. I'm not saying don't give any pain to your principal, please do, because we all did. But at the same time, you should be the blue-eyed boy or the girl of the principal and of your teachers. Because here this is being called as man management. When you go out in the field tomorrow to work, you have to manage your bosses. The person who works the hardest may not reap the best fruits. But the person who works hard and manages well, perception, projection is all very important. So coming back, in 1999, we got an opportunity to come into institutional catering. Coming from the background that we came from, it was very easy for us to understand contracts and agreements. But how we started with 2,000 meals, and pre-COVID, we were doing about 1 lakh meals a day, and out of that, about 50,000 meals in NCR. And we built our own commissary. We started our careers sitting on a LPG cylinder because we couldn't afford a chair, to building what we could build, but it is not our success. The credit of this goes first to the college, who made us go through that grind. Second, I would say, is the chefs and the seniors that we work for in the hotels. Third, I would say, is the people that we worked with. When I say with, I never call them employees. They're all partners in the trade that you are in. You can have your differences, but then you have to agree to disagree on your differences and move on. Ego is the last place for any person who wants to be successful. It is not important to learn. It is very, very important to unlearn. With the pace that this whole concept of F&B, hotels, hospitality is coming up, it is very, very important to unlearn to learn again. You can take the beaten path and still be successful. You can take the path which our revered panelists have taken along with me and still be successful. It all depends on what you want to do and what destiny has for you. But you build your own destiny by your hard work. You build the destiny by learning now. These 2 years, it is not important what your professors, what your principal guides you. It is also important that what you want to assimilate from them. You know, they are not a table tennis racket and a ball where they will throw a ball to you and you will give it back to them and they will mark you with your shot. They are like a sponge. They have all the information. It depends how you hold their hand and get that information out from them. When you are coming to this course and you feel you've paid that money and somebody is going to teach you, it will never happen. They will give you the information. You have to take out the experience from them. There is a difference between information and experience. Principal Saab has today given you that experience, because these things don't come in any courses. The world is tough, but you can enjoy that life because your bosses, your principal, your professors, your seniors can give you a very hard time, but what they cannot take from you is the smile on your face. Keep that smile on, keep that fire in your belly on, and believe you me, you will be successful. And you have a very, very good old students association, PIMA, who's going to support you wholeheartedly. We are there for you because there have been people who have been there for us. If you do not, and you also, when you grow up and you are a panelist or be entitled to help your batchmates, help your juniors, help old seniors like us also in whichever way you can, because you will be in a position to do that if you resolve to do it. Don't leave things in the midstream. Change course, change everything, but don't leave it mid course.
Wonderful. I think, uh, like Mr. Lobo, somebody else has to say that rather than being an institutional caterer, you have got a knack for being a wonderful speaker, a motivational speaker also. So maybe you explore your talents in that area sometime soon. But what a wonderful journey you have narrated, and what important thing you have said today, that it is not important that what lead you have at the beginning of the race. What matters is, at the end of the race, what your position is. And doesn't really matter, whether you got a management training position or which position you got, as long as, you are. I wish to, come back to you in a little while. Hopefully now Sanjay said that he would have the time to join in at 4 o'clock. So I would request my team to look out for him and
Yes, sir.
facilitate his joining the meeting. But I wanted to come to my batchmate and my dear friend Sushil, the last.
Yes.
I think in the confusion, we have taken away the opportunity from my dear students to introduce my esteemed guests this afternoon. But Sushil has worked in different companies. I remember back in 1988, Sushil and I both were selected as hotel operation management trainees. I was a chef trainee, and Sushil was a catering assistants, or what they were called, and we both were supposed to join in Bangalore. I was dilly-dallying ITDC or Taj, and then one fine day, because we used to travel together from Delhi to Bhubaneswar and come back, and we had planned to travel to Bangalore together from Delhi, and all of a sudden, I ditched Sushil and decided in favor of joining ITDC. So I remember one morning he coming up before anybody in my household had woken up, and he told us 10 acronyms for ITDC, some of which I cannot even dare to speak out here. Sushil, do you remember them? That was the
Yes,
kind
yes.
of frustration you
Absolutely.
had, right?
Absolutely.
And what great friends we have been, and God willing, it will remain the same. We had not met for a number of years. And 2 years back, I learned that he was in Dubai, and I had gone to celebrate my silver wedding anniversary, with my wife. And I said, I have to meet up with my friend. And I think something like that, Sushil told his wife. And then when we met, we were so restless to meet one another. Our wives were saying, did you guys have an affair, when you were in the college or something? But
I know.
well, that is jokes apart. But the kind of satisfaction that gave us, both of us, and then our wives were saying, "Are you guys happy now? You see one another?" And we said, "Yes, we have not been happier in a long, long time." So
So, Kamal, that was the frustration coming out of both the wives.
yeah. Welcome, welcome,
Hey,
Sanjay.
Sanjay, how are you?
Hi, Sushil.
How are you? Very good to see
Welcome,
you.
Sanjay.
And all my sympathies for them. Whenever I meet them, I'll certainly share a sympathy letter with them.
Certainly,
And a
you
thank you note to bear with you.
wonderful. Welcome. You couldn't have come at a more opportune time.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining in,
Pleasure.
Sanjay.
It's my pleasure.
So, since we started with Sushil, Sushil has had a wonderful career, and then in airport catering, this company that he works for now, He has started, after being head of properties for the Taj Group of Hotels. But what a wonderful job profile he had in Middle East, in the United Arab Emirates, and heading this big institution, which is leading so many airports in that region and multicultural kind of background people that he manages. I would like to request Sushil to tell, what the work is like there. And second question would be, would he recommend a career in a multicultural kind of a location like UAE is or some other location for our people to look for careers for themselves?
Okay. Very good afternoon to all of you. After such inspirational conversations and such lovely talks from Mr. Chauhan and Mr. Vora, I am actually speechless. Nothing much to say because they've really given the insight as to how the people should, what they should look at when they come out or when they graduate, what to expect, what not to expect. It's really great. It's been an eye opener. And actually, it took years back, when we started our career, and we never had such conversations. But we, amongst ourselves, we used to kind of try to make an assessment and see which direction to go. As you know, we whether Taj or ITDC or ITC or the Oberoi's, which was considered very premium those days. So I would not like to say much, but I'd just like to tweak a bit. When we started, there's a lot of, see, the entire hospitality has undergone a major shift. There's been enormous amount of changes which have totally kind of twisted, or I would say accelerated, really revamped the entire thinking process, which kind of defines the hospitality now, vis-a-vis 20, 30 years back. Those days, it was very simple. You need to get into a group, you need to get into a management trainee or a kitchen trainee or something and grow up the ladder 3 years, 2 years in a position, and then kind of on growing in the same organization. If you're fortunate, you grow, otherwise you kind of get stuck somewhere. So we also followed the same. We joined, and then, I remember Sanjay also joined the Taj initially, and then he was in Taj Bengal, and then he moved into Hyatt. Brave of him, and I think it was very, 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 very turned out to be really great for him and for the industry and for the Hyatt Group. I would say he's a great asset to have from the Hyatt's point of view. I remember we briefly touched upon in Mumbai when I used to be a Taj president and Sanjay used to be in Grand Hyatt. So, but anyway, those, even if we don't meet for years, the connection is there. It feels like I just saw his face now, and it took me back. I don't know. Anyway, those are our memories. But coming back to the core reason why we are here. Now, the industry has changed. What used to take years earlier, maybe takes a few months. What used to take months and months, maybe takes few hours or days or weeks. So things have really become very, there used to be concepts which are lasting for decades. There is a Taj Mansingh, there is a, Grand Hyatt, or so these are the wall stuff. But today, those days, you could count the 5-star hotels on your fingertips. And then you could count the restaurants which have been really exceptionally successful also on your fingertips. And as Chauhan Saab and Vora Saab said, some people who took the brave step to explore the outside really turned out to be successful. Then they started realizing their own potential. So my take on this is, today, of course, as of now, the industry is facing a huge challenge where, the COVID is kind of, a lot of traction, a lot of resistance to the growth, which had kind of really picked up momentum. But I'm sure it's going to come back it's just a matter of time. But having said that, the expectations of the industry today have kind of changed, I would say superficially. But when it comes down to the roots of hospitality, as I think Chauhan Saab said earlier, you can train skills, you can harness expertise, you can get people to do a job in a particular style, you can get somebody to follow a recipe, make food items, somebody to behave in front of a customer at the reception. You can do all that. You can try to develop upselling skills or being a good salesperson. But what is the core behind is the attitude. This is something which has to be in you. So my take is that must follow your own conscience. What you like doing is something which you should take up. Like I worked for the Taj for 24, 25 years, and I worked for this organization for about 7 years now. Not even single day I really felt that I am on duty or I'm doing a job. And I'm sure Sanjay can also vouch for it, that he also has never felt that way. I mean, I leave it to him, and I'm sure, because knowing his passion and knowing his kind of, the attitude, this is how we felt. We never felt that I'm getting dressed, I need to go on, I'm rushing to work, or I'm reporting to somebody. We were small entrepreneurs in our own department or in our own workplace. That's how we always looked at it. So my take is that attitude has to be really, really, you guys need to be really prepared to be absolutely agile, very swift, follow your intent, what you like to do, try to hit it. But then, yes, nothing comes easy. Your efforts, your alignment supported by the efforts, your hard work, your approach to be really, really all out to grab what you're looking for or what you want to take. That is a must, because without that it doesn't happen. Now the institution, yes, those days the institutions provided a certain base for your understanding of the hospitality, and then it was kind of more of your own kind of, the ladder that you grab and you pick up and you run up. But today, I think the institutions also have undergone a major enhancement in terms of what they offer, how well they prepare you, how well they groom you. So you are definitely coming out as much better individuals in terms of skills and knowledge that you need to have. But then from here on, the industry expects you to be flexible. The industry expects you to be ready in terms of detailing. Today, numbers play a very important role, and numbers come with detailing, because anything that you do today is kind of a data. So numbers are extremely critical. Your attitude has to be good. And then it's up to you how well you shape it up and match it with today's scenario as to what are the platforms, how the business is done well. Cloud kitchen, somebody spoke about. Yes, food and beverages are totally transforming. I mean, I looked after the leisure hotels in Maldives and then Goa, and then suddenly came down into an industry which is I would say it's one of the fastest in terms of competition, in terms of pace, in terms of, operating at Dubai airport, running about 30 odd restaurants, and with competing with the global brands. So and all retails, the very few fine dining and very few casual dining, but it's all kind of as if there is money lying all over and you need to just grab it. So how you make it, so it's been really, really, and I realized my potential. I thought I would not be able to really cope up with this because this is too high pace. It's not like hotels. It's not like, where you kind of have a peaceful time. You have your own team, you keep your people happy, you interact. Out here, it was the other extreme. But I'm glad that I took this plunge, because today, maybe it's taken me this job to come closer to where, Mr. Vora is. He's an entrepreneur who has seen the world around. But I could never imagine, unless you really take a plunge, you don't know what you are good at or what you always assumed all your life. Maybe you could do really something better in something else. So, having won awards, visiting China to explore brands, and going to Amsterdam or going to Italy, the heart of Italy. Our company actually is an Italian company called Autogrill. Head office in Italy, they operate in US. So what I'm trying to say is being open-minded to accept, because success today, it's not only, going up the ladder and saying, okay, I've become a CEO, now I'm arrived. Because as you grow older, you also start realizing what matters to you, what is most important to you. Then the family takes over, then your own achievements take over. Then you also start feel like giving back to the community. So there are different parameters. So don't get stuck onto something, but be very open, be very flexible. That is what the industry is definitely looking at: smarter people who have a decent, I'm not saying masters, but decent awareness of what is the social marketing nowadays. How do things work today? What are the platforms that people use to really accelerate their business or launch their brands, or even in hotels, the e-marketing, or or the booking the whole thing has changed. As we said, Zomato, and in terms of food and beverage, these companies do not have any hardware as such except for the bikes and the drivers, but they take away 25-30% of your top line. On the other side, there are bookings.com, and people, then you have the new models where the residential apartments are being opened up to lodge people, to accommodate people. So the whole platform is changed. The world is moving into a very different kind of a scenario. Amazon, people used to laugh at it. Why would I buy something which comes to me in a packet and I pay in advance? What nonsense. Today, I think, the acceleration, the numbers are spiking up every single day. And in this lockdown, I think it's really gone to way beyond what anybody could expect. So, I mean, I don't want to really go on too much because I think it was beautifully covered by the two previous gentlemen, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Sanjay. But any questions later on, anything that anybody would like to know, yes, I would be more than pleased to come back.
Wonderful, wonderful, Sushil. And I would like you to come back again and say what your vision is about how the industry is going to transform in the days to come. But like everybody else, including myself, has been waiting for Sanjay to come in. Welcome, Sanjay. I know your work keeps you too busy. Right. So, Sanjay, having Hyatt hotels in India, what a strong brand it is, and you have one of the most elite team, with you in this country. Now, my question to you would be, in a large team, you have unit level structures, then you have got corporate level structures, you do brand management, you do corporate communications, then there are so many reporting structures that you have. So I wish to ask you, do you follow the model that people come up through the ranks and then they join the corporate offices? Or are there opportunities for people to start at young age, tender age at the corporate office in places like corporate communications and in training and in development and in revenue and in menu engineering and things like that? Like, would there be opportunities for people like the MSc graduates, which IHMs produce now? What is your take on them, and what are your thoughts about it? Because the theme today is that what industry expects from this master's program. And I would appreciate any kind of advice, any kind of suggestions you could give to the young students here to cultivate themselves so that they become, employable, employee ready, or even to take a plunge into entrepreneurship, like Sushil mentioned a few minutes back. The floor is yours, Sanjay.
Many thanks, sir. And my apologies that I didn't join earlier and missed out some really thoughtful comments and some really visionary comments previously. And I hope everybody is well and keeping safe, and your families are safe. I wish them good health. And it is wonderful to see and hear, Kamal, I spoke to you after years some time back, and also great to hear Sushil. And I don't deserve what all you all said. It is, I'm just a torch bearer of everybody on this screen, and the people who work along with me, or who I work for. Actually, I don't work for anybody else outside. I work for the people who are working in our hotels or in the corporate office. And I'm very fortunate to be with them. And I think these are the times when it even defines our family a little more. It is a Hyatt family. And we say that we care for people so that they can be their best. Purpose is what we are driven by, and this is our purpose. And each one of us, whether it is here or Zurich or Chicago or Hong Kong, where we have our 3 offices. So all of us live by the same purpose, and all of us at the hotel level as well live by the same purpose. All of us are equals, and we take strength from each other in doing things every single day. And I'm sorry if I'm going to be repeating things which were said by the elite panel here, and I'm sure most of it is covered. But just for the sake of sharing our thoughts, or even if it is repetition, I think it is great for the students here I think the theme, Kamal, which you picked, there couldn't have been a more relevant theme for the people on this platform to be talking about. And I think when you say grooming for the future, or what are we expecting, or what do they expect, I think we need to groom for expectations. I'll come to what you actually asked a little later, but I would just maybe summarize which everybody said, though I didn't hear it, but I'm sure this is what would have been said, that I think we need to be grooming. We means I include myself as a student and you're the principal. I would still take myself, I'm still learning in life, and I'll always be a student. So I think we need to groom for expectations. We need to groom our mindset. So we are a person and we have components to ourselves. We need to be grooming those components a little differently to what they were. So our expectations pre-COVID were different. Now we need to groom those expectations based on what the reality would be. We need to groom our mindset based on those expectations. We need to groom ourselves on the relevance of what is going to be relevant, what is not going to be relevant, or how it is going to be relevant. So grooming takes place there in the components which we have in our own personality. We need to groom that personality or the components of that personality in a way which now is relevant to what's going to happen. It's about also creating a differentiation. How do I create differentiators? Because differentiators is what is going to be successful as we go forward. So we need to see what is the differentiator which I am creating. For that, for a lack of better words, I would say, okay, what is brand Kamal? Or I can see a name here. What is brand Prakhar Gupta? Or what is brand Pranjul? Or what is Pranjul? Sorry, I called you Pranjul. So what is brand Pranjul? Or what is brand Sanjana? Or what is brand Malhar? So what is that brand? What is their brand? So how do we groom that brand to be relevant in the time to come? That's very, very relevant. That's very important too. You know, people used to say, or earlier the most popular phrase was think out of the box. Now, what is this box? There is no box anymore. We need to start thinking. We need to start really exploring. You know, I think Mahatma Gandhi said something like this: "Be the change you want to see." So we need to be that change today. We need to change ourselves. Instead of looking outside, we need to look inside. How can I, each one of us, make changes in ourselves to be relevant for the future? We know what's going on around us. We have these 2 years, because I think this batch is 2022. We have these 2 years to groom ourselves for the future. I think something which Sushil said, I'm sorry I didn't hear the other elite panelists, but I think something which Sushil said was attitude. I think he alluded to attitude. So I'll tell you something which is, or I will share something which what I personally believe in. I sometimes address the new joiners in hotels or in offices or wherever it is. And the first thing which I say to them is that when you wake up in the morning, if you wake up with a thought that I'm going to enjoy today, forget about work. If you wake up with the thought and you're going to that place, having this in your mind or in your heart that I'm going to enjoy today, work will come by itself. What you enjoy, you do best. I'm not really interested about work, because whatever you churn out that day cannot be better. Sky is the limit for you. Questions is something, all are relevant. You write your own script. But attitude, what Sushil alluded to, and that is what makes the difference. So we need to say that, okay, I am going somewhere, I'm going to enjoy the journey of the day. Whatever comes, we'll deal with it. You know, work will happen. I'll repeat again, what we enjoy, we do best. And I would say to the teams that the day you wake up in the morning and you think that you are not feeling so great, call your supervisor and say, look, I'm feeling like this. We will give you, stay at home, take care of yourself. Because what happens then is, if you come, you actually end up increasing the work for others. So a person who would have been enjoying, he will have to share the load with it, specifically in hotels. Because if one interaction goes wrong, imagine the domino effect it creates for others. So we are actually saving that domino effect by saying, okay, you take care of your health. whatever is happening with you, we will take care here. Don't worry. Because that way we are sorting out two things, already nipping it in the bud. So enjoyment is very necessary. I have been in the industry for now close to 30 years, and I haven't had a day which I haven't enjoyed. And it's not that all of you know, it's our days in the hospitality industry are very interesting. Things change from moment to moment, and excitement changes to nervousness, nervous changes to excitement. Successes, challenges, they crop up every second. We need to deal with it. But I think what benefit each one of you here has, that you're already unknowing or even without realizing are preparing yourself to be successful in the future. Why I say that? What is our industry? Our industry is about passion, about emotion. It is about relationships. While being with each other in that cohort, if you are a hostelite or if you're a day scholar, doesn't matter. But what happens here is, what are you dealing with? You're already dealing with 200 to 300 egos. There are the egos of the faculty. I won't say egos. There are expectations of the faculty. there are expectations of your fellow students. There are expectations of your close friends. You're managing those expectations. You're managing those nuances already. What do we do in our industry? We are managing those expectations of people. So actually, unknowingly, you're already getting trained into all that. So you already have that benefit, right? So, okay, I think I repeated a lot, but coming back to your question, sir, is do we have? Yes, of course. So there is no, so we say there is no limit. It is what you want to do. How we take it at Hyatt is that we are the resources for you. You write your script, use us as your resource where you want to be. So it's not that in the office here, we don't have people who join in fresh, for sure. We take people from outside the industry. Some people, yes, they do come from the hotels, but it totally depends on how they have charted their path and used us as their resources. We are available to everybody. If somebody says, okay, I need this, could be anybody in a hotel, in a corporate role or wherever. They have, if I show you the office, I'm actually talking to you from an open, we don't have cabins here. We don't have cabins. I'm actually standing at my desk and talking to you, and the entire office is open. We have an open office. We don't have cabins. And so anybody can approach and talk at any time. If I have an answer, I will give it to you right away. Otherwise, we'll find an answer. There's no question which is incorrect. There is no question which is irrelevant. And you, as an upcoming student or as an upcoming employee or as a new joinee to the family of Hyatt, you have a right to ask us questions, and it is our obligation to give you an answer. If you don't have it there, we'll find it for you. See, the moral responsibility once you are in becomes ours because you were chosen for those values to be a part of the Hyatt family. After that, what we do with you is our moral responsibility that we make you successful. That's the way we go at a Hyatt. That what happens later is partly our responsibility as well, equally actually, where you have come into the family. It is our job to make you successful. It is like, in a marriage, when we, in India, Indian customs, the girl comes home. It is the moral responsibility of the household where you have brought in that new family member to make that person at home and make that person successful. That's how we look at it. So options for you, opportunities for you would be great, because if you look at the curve now, what's going to happen? We're going to consolidate. By the time each one of you comes out with all your wisdom and all the talent which we will be hitting close to the upswing. And look at the demand would be, even if, let's say, worst case scenario, we don't do that. Yet the opportunities which are in India are existing still, not only even in hotels, but in the other spheres as well, for people like yourself, would be tremendous. But you need to prepare yourself with a few points which I mentioned. You need to first look within and say, okay, these are my components, this is my brand. How do I make those tweaks to groom myself for my expectations, for the future's expectations, my mindset, the relevance that time, the uncertainties, how do I groom myself for those uncertainties? What happens sometimes is that we don't groom ourselves for uncertainty. It hits us. Nothing wrong. So again, okay, let me talk to you about response and reaction. Some of us react, right? What is the difference between reaction and response? One should take a step back, look what's going on, try and respond to a situation. That's what I mean by grooming for uncertainty. Because if you take a step back, you've groomed yourself for uncertainty, you will take a step back, think about it. Okay, what are my options? How do I choose the best option? Because each one of you will have a different option which will suit you. So do not react to situations. Look at that and respond to the situations. So that's something which you will have to do. The most important part would be how do you groom yourself to create differentiators and make yourself as a brand which is differentiated from others. All of you will have space, but you will have to individually, you cannot become one. You will have to have your own personality. That's what we respect. And we groom personalities. We welcome personalities. We are not creating robots. Nobody wants to. And we respect and we value your personalities. And that is what we would want you to bring with you, because that's what you are best. I hope I have not exceeded or said too much, sir. And I think I will end at that. Thank you for listening to me.
No, not really. And what wonderful insights you have given us about the brand, which is called Hyatt, and the kind of attributes Hyatt people, look for in their associates. I would like to come back to you in a minute. I hope that you have another few minutes. I have 100 questions in my mind, but I understand that all of you are very busy people. So I would like to ask one question in which many of my questions could be, assimilated. What I would like to ask you is though it is a hypothetical question, it is not possible for any one of us to exercise the option of one career path or the other career path now. But for a moment, if we imagine that we had an option to start our career now, it's this crisis situation, or maybe in 2 years' time, what are the kind of choices would we be making? Chef Sunil, if I could begin with you and come back to Sanjay, what is the kind of career strategy would you make for yourself? Would you still be working with hotels? Would you still be competing in international kind of competitions and then take the plunge into entrepreneurship? Or would you rather start with the entrepreneurship right away, looking at the kind of opportunities which are available in the market at the moment? Sunil, are you there? I don't think Sunil can hear it. Mr. Vora, could you take that question?
Sunil is on mute. Sunil is on mute, so if he can switch off his mute, he will hear him.
Sunil?
Yes. I think there was some problem on my unmuting my mic. So I did hear everything that you were trying to say, sir, in terms of your question. What I would, before answering this question, what I would also like to mention here, which all of our esteemed speakers did say, and in terms of your preparedness, I personally feel that it has a lot to do with how you take, starting from what Sanjay rightly said, is how you take stock of the situation in terms of responding, not reacting. Mike Tyson was once asked, basically, what is the kind of fighters that he fears? His very simple answer was happy fighters. So happiness quotient, definitely, I would like you to keep that in mind as well, in terms of right from the time you wake up to the time you sleep. One is that. The other thing I must mention here is what Gurpreet mentioned, is the fire in the belly. And what Sushil said was the numbers and detailing. I feel if you have this, then any kind of a situation does not matter, whether it is a COVID, whether it is post-COVID, or whether it was pre-COVID. I feel that entrepreneurs need not necessarily be businessmen. You can be an entrepreneur when you are working at your organization as well. And entrepreneurs, and that is what I personally feel that anyone and everyone can be an entrepreneur. In terms of what I would also like to say here is what has happened due to COVID is not something which is good, and hospitality industry is the industry which is facing the brunt, is in right in the front in terms of facing the brunt of what has happened. But I do feel that there are opportunities also with adversity that comes up, and if people are keeping their mind open to all the things that has been said by our speakers as well, and in terms of the approach towards what you want to do, the universe is singing. You are, whether your ears open or not, is upon you actually. So that's what I.
Wonderful, philosophical, and to a wonderful piece of advice that you shared. Very good. I think the same question, if I may ask you, Mr. Bohra, looking at the environment, doing the environment scanning, what is the silver lining do you see in the clouds? And then what is the kind of strategy you would take if you were given a chance to start all over again? Gurpreet? Gurpreet, do you hear me?
Sir, you can open up your
He's on
mic.
mute. He's also on mute, I think. Yes.
Gurpreet,
Yes.
could you unmute yourself?
Yes, sir. Now you can speak it.
Vora Saab, did you get the question? Sushil,
I don't.
would you like to take that question first, and we can reach out to Gurpreet?
Yeah, sure. I think if the time, yeah, I know, if you were born in today's age and if we had to change, I would say I would not change anything because I have no regrets, and I think it's been a wonderful journey. Whatever we did was appropriate at that time. Now, I don't know if we were born today, our mindset would be different. Our thought process would be very, very different. Maybe we would be more inclined towards, So, but if I have the same situation and if I have the same thing, I mean, in today's scenario, I would still like to go ahead with what we tried doing, and I think we've had a wonderful journey. The only not a regret as such. The only thought that keeps coming back to our mind is that we one and only thing, maybe it's the age factor that we've grown now, and adding value is, I mean, that is the mantra that I've always followed. Whatever you do, you add value to yourself, you add value to the people that you interact with. More importantly, you add value to the organization that you work for. Now, the value addition could be anything: developing people, adding to the bottom line, adding to the top line, making your customers really, really delighted, or creating marks so that, building relationships, increasing your net promoter score, or stuff like that. So adding value, we have been really too much into adding value to the organization and to the customers, but somehow I felt that adding value to yourself, although we did an MBA sponsored by the Taj, we did Cornell and whatever, there was a lot of value addition done by the organization, but somewhere we feel that we could really do little more in this aspect, because life is all about adding value. It's doing for whatever you come in contact with. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, I think I would still like to go ahead with the hotels, and I would still like to explore, and maybe maybe align a little bit soft alignment, a little bit here and there may deviate, but yeah, I mean, I've had no regrets as such.
No, it is evident.
It's been wonderful.
Sheel,
Yeah.
yeah, the happiness quotient really has been, and I know you as a person, who has taken everything in a stride, whatever is thrown your way. And you have always been a very popular figure amongst the friends, and you
No, it's been good,
reached
but
out to
because I would
people.
also
And
like to, I would also, if I may just take a minute, for
yes, yes,
maybe
certainly.
for the students who are the people who are kind of at the moment with a lot of anxiety and with a lot of confusion in their minds as to what direction they should go in for, is that this hospitality industry, do not limit it to only hotels or food and beverage, or it has, because this is a very versatile, it's kind of a industry which has so many verticals, and they all have to come together to make it as a hospitality, a successful hospitality business. So there are so many verticals, and as Sanjay rightfully said, you need to, like we say, USP, unique selling point, so you have your own differentiator for yourself. So you need to make that. But let me tell you that the fundamentals of hospitality are that you need to be, you need to prepare yourself for an industry wherein you have to like people, you have to develop people, whether it's customers, whether it's your employees, your team people, your seniors, your juniors. Then emotional quotient. I think nowadays there's a lot of focus in the institutions also. I'm sure Kamal is also taken this
Yes,
forward. Your
yes.
emotional quotient plays the most important part as to what kind of personality do you become to bind people together, to take people together, and then keep raising the bar of performance as a team, and yet be a leader, but not lead from have too much of distance. You go too far in the front and then leave your people behind. But so there's an emotional quotient, and this industry really offers you a lot of opportunities. This industry really offers you uh, to really showcase various strengths that you have. Now you need to make out as to what is your best and what is it that makes you happy, because eventually if you're not happy in doing something, you can never do well. You may do a job, because I'm a
I've
very
sent the
firm
question
believer.
on your WhatsApp. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, I did not unmute myself. I was speaking to Mr. Vohra.
Okay.
Please go.
Okay. No, I was saying that where I was. It was a thought process that. I'm sorry, I just lost it. Okay, it was primarily I was talking about adding. I can't hear you, Kamal. I'm sorry.
Was saying that how important the role social intelligence and emotional intelligence.
Yeah, emotional
Playing
quotient.
in
So now I was coming back here. This industry
Yeah.
offers you a huge scope to develop yourself. It offers you so many opportunities, not only in the field of being a great chef or a great hotel manager, or in specialized field itself. If you're a very good negotiator, you have a role cut out for you. If you are a really great guy to take the branding and the marketing into a different sphere, then you have your role cut out. So it's not necessarily that you need to rise above the ranks. Now there are the specialized fields is something which is really, really individually developing into major sectors of the drivers of this industry. So after coming into this company, I realized that our marketing team is just about 8 people handling 144 airports globally, and they don't travel much. They're all based in Milan and Amsterdam, but every promotion, every poster that you see in those 25,000, 30,000 restaurants, it's all getting approved by 7, 8 people. So the technology is so much, and each one there is a head in its own. I mean, they are. So if you go into finance, I don't have to say much, because finance is, I mean, it's always the core, because if there's no money, it's like you don't have a soul in the body. But marketing is there, vendors is there, vendor management, your procurement, your administration in general. So there are so many individual feats, but eventually everything boils down to how you manage yourself to manage people. And there, I think the emotional quotient and being happy is what the key is from my side. You should always choose a task that makes you happy while doing it.
Wow, wonderful. What a way to sum up important things in life. And Mr. Vora, I think he has the questions now. Could I invite you over, please? Gurpreet? I think still we are having some struggle. Yes.
Sir, Mr. Vora is there.
Yeah. Please, could you come in, Mr. Vora? Gurpreet? Gurpreet, you got the question on WhatsApp. No, I think we are still struggling. In the meanwhile, Sanjay, if you are around, could I bring you in before Gurpreet, please? Mr. Vora, we are ready. You can come in now. You can come in now, Mr. Vora.
Mr. Vora, can you kindly, yes, your mic is on now. Sir, you can speak now. Mr. Vora, you can speak now. Sir, I'll just make a call, sir.
Right. Sanjay, are you there? Am I reaching out to you?
I'm here.
Sanjay, while we fix this glitch, can I ask you a straight question? The other question remains, but this question is like these MSc graduates, 2 years down the line, is it possible for me to approach a big group like Harvard and say that here you have the people who have got exposure of hardcore hotel operations before they came to pursue their master's degree, and please give them a try for your training manager position. Give them a try.
There's a problem I can't hear you, so I'm just trying to fix it. Give me a minute.
Digital marketing. Give them a try for your brand management. Give them a try for corporate communication desk and assignments like that. Give them a try, and if they succeed, well and good. Otherwise, is it possible for me to make a kind of sales pitch like that to Hyatt and to IHG and to Accor and to Marriott and all other brands?
So,
do you see some promise in that?
So cannot comment about the other brands, but what I can say is I can ask a question back to you saying, why would you say to me that give them a try? What do you mean by that? I think they can give us a try. The talent available outside, I would request them to give us a try rather than the other way, that we will give them a try.
So,
so you have the answer.
My proposition is like Hyatt does come for campus recruitment. Other groups do come for campus recruitment.
Correct.
But focus is on 3 years of BSc degree and not on anything else. Maybe some focus is. So, do you think then it is a good idea that we make a kind of portfolio and approach all these brands and?
Yeah. So I will. I don't know whether you're aware. We have program, the corporate training program. Yes. Where they can choose what they want to do at the end of 1 year. So whether they want to go to revenue, we have people or who joined from hotel schools or outside or graduates who came in and went into revenue, digital marketing, sales, brand management, and it is their choice. It is for us to make them successful.
But should we have the same opening for the BSc graduates and MSc graduates, or could there be something tailor-made, or should we be marketing this program differently, or
so it
because
is?
These people have 2 years more invested into their education.
Correct. So it would also see they need to look at the investment which they are doing now. A company will not change basically saying that, okay, we are going to change our training, our program for one, two, or three individuals. But what they could do is, in case there is a vacant position anywhere, very happy to meet them, and that doesn't restrict that they have not been in the industry. It doesn't restrict. No, we just see how the match takes place, and how the puzzle fits together, and how the two pieces fit together. And the other thing which I should mention here is that I don't think we should get demotivated, dejected, or get any, or feel that we are any or have a setback, or say that, okay, I'm not, the other one is better than me, because each one is your own brand. I think the investment which you make, you need to look at a time period. Your first mile might be 8 minutes, but your next mile can be 5 minutes, and the other person's mile could be 7 minutes. So you average it out over a period of time. So you need to look at what is the investment you're making, especially the time for each one of these kids right now is to make that investment without thinking what is going to be. Enjoy the journey, because with time they will get the rewards. When you make a tall building, the most investment which you make is doing foundation. This is the foundation. This is the time for investment, not to be misguided by the fruits already. So don't go for those early fruits. Look at how you're setting your base, because then what you can withdraw from that strong base, or what you can achieve from that strong base for the next 20 years would be far more what you would have achieved by this short term. They need to look at their investment period right now. How I look at it is that this is their investment. Should I invest in myself to make myself successful over the next? They need to have milestones that, okay, 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, or whatever they want to set, and say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I need. Now, from a need perspective, that's where people like us come, where we can be used as resources to fulfill either the guidance or their needs, to make them achieve their goals through those milestones which they have created. They need to be for a better thing.
Right.
And I think this time has also, I will answer your other question also, which you have been asking. I think this time has made us battle ready already. And everybody said about passionate, numbers and everything. I think one word which comes to me, which would come with their experience and what they're doing right now, whatever you do, it's about the business acumen. So you might be great with numbers, you might be great with everything, but what you require is business acumen of that, what needs to be applied in which situation. You might be great with everything, but if you haven't applied it at the right time, with the right impact, you won't get the right result.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Yes.
So I think Mr. Chauhan wants to say something. Please, Mr. Chauhan.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Just a second.
You're back on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Okay, so I am sure Malhar, MSc final year, had put a very straightforward question, which was, how does a MSc graduate in HR compete with an MBA HR graduate from an XLRI or IIM as well? And this question was posted to Mr. Sharma. But I would definitely like to, and I felt that it is very, very important here to kind of directly address this question. Is that if it is about looking into a mirror, I think we should not kind of try and put a kind of a curtain there. Certainly, if there is an XLRI for an HR graduate, MBA or an IIM, I feel that there is likely to be the attention, or there's likely to be basically in terms of a preference, it could possibly be there. But what I feel what need to be done and what need to be looked at is hospitality industry is one of the biggest industry in the world. So, right. So if the program, if the BSc program, and if you as an individual right now can kind of go with that attitude, with that kind of added benefit to you, that since you have been in the hospitality industry and you are you are looking for, and my personal thing would be that in case of if you've done a MSc, and if you've done an MSc where you want to get into an HR, you're taking that department in that hospitality chain, and not only gives you an insight into an HR, but also because of your hotel management degree does kind of qualify you to become a general manager of the hotel, whereas an HR head will never have that opportunity to, or that advantage, not that opportunity, sorry, but that advantage to think. But I personally feel that the program should concentrate more towards what the other is missing, which is the others, in terms of whoever has joined IIM or an XLRI or whatever, they have done that after post doing their graduation, post doing their college, not post doing their hotel management, which I feel is such an added advantage, and something where we should not feel anything lesser in terms of going there. And what I would definitely agree with Sanjay as well, at the end of the day, you've entered the doors of the organization, you are an individual, you are not an XLRI or an IHM. How you perform is totally upon you.
Exactly right.
That's what I wanted to add.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's about the fitment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
True.
Right. So, Mr. Vohra, if you would like to add something to it and share with us, what strategy you would have adopted, if you're given a chance to start all over again now.
Sir, please unmute yourself, Mr. Vohra. Thank you.
I would first like to come over to the question of Malhar. Malhar, you have a very straight answer to this. You have Mr. Sanjay Sharma heading Hayat, and all XLRIs or IIMs are reporting to him. So you don't need an answer here. It all depends, like everybody said, how you manage and how you grow. If today you want to get into an HR position, the best option after MSc would be to join any organization in an HR position. Don't look at the salary. Don't look at the position. Go do your expertise after 2 years or 3 years of working. Do your expertise in 1 year, 2 year course of HR, and come back with the background of hospitality, having worked in the industry, and then grow. If that is what your heart is into, because you will get a job. Job is never a problem. The problem is we restrict ourselves to the remuneration that we are looking at. You can always come back and come to this to a senior level later on as well. So don't say no to any job that comes your way, in case your heart is towards that line. Now, coming back to what would be my strategy, what Mr. Pant just said, if I was to start my career all over again, I would still want to go back to Pusa. I would rather live in a time frame where I don't want to get out of those 3 years. I want to repeat every year again. So that is where our bonding towards the college is. But yes, as far as the career is concerned, all that I would say is that we always had accounting and finance as one of the subjects. And starting our careers with the back end of the hotels, where we were in the kitchens or in the production team, and we proudly wore the uniform and still proud of it. But EBITDA was something that we learned much later in life. So I would say I would want to understand more about numbers, which time and again Mr. Tandon has referred to. It is very important for you to when you say that you can be an entrepreneur when you are an employee. It is not just the work that you do, but the productive work that comes in. That is very important. So I think we learned that part a little later. We were fixed on the food costs and the rest of the things, but we never understood EBITDA. So I would say finance, accounting, that is now the game. Nobody is here for charity. Nobody is going to give you salary for charity. Nobody is going to. So you have to make yourself indispensable for the organization. COVID is a time, like Mr. Sharma said, you need to take a step back, but that is fine. But then the trims are also there, and you have to be very important where the organization feels that you can be. So I want to be in that position where I understand my value and which I am giving to the organization, and the organization also benefits from it. So I don't want to be insecure. I don't want to be afraid of my boss. I don't want to question him. I want to learn, but at the same time, I know what I am giving to that organization and what the organization is giving to me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I think there are wonderful insights shared by all the panelists today. And Arjun's question has already been taken, so we are not repeating it. And I'm sure that the students attending this program today have got benefited by sharing the It is my privilege to thank them for their time and the pain that they have taken and added this wonderful value to today's session. This interaction with you and the guidance and suggestions from you, I think we are going to continue in the days to come, and together we are going to add more value to this program for sure. I would wait for the day when the institute is fully operational and I could invite you over, prepared by the students that you have mentored today. Until then, I would like to say goodbye to Sunil, Mr. Vohra, Sanjay, and Sushil, who has joined from all the way from Dubai this afternoon. I appreciate it, and I owe a big one to each one of you. Thank you very much for your
Pleasure is all
valuable
ours,
time.
Sachin.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
Kamal.
day.
Thank you
Enjoy
very much.
yourself.
Pleasure has been all
Thank you.
ours.
All the best.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much for the panelists and Mr. Sai Krishnan. Thank you so much,
Thank you
sir,
very much.
for all the time. We were really listening to all of you that you've given us. Thank you so much, sir.